So is your world upside down? That's what I'm about to talk about. Yeah, it's telling me to rotate my phone like there's a problem. Oh yeah, there's a problem, all right. People in our world today actually believe that there are others upside down in relationship to each other. And that, quite frankly, is not only impossible, it's absurd. We were given that view when we were children, and now that we're adults, what are we going to do with that? Are we going to go along with it? It might even mean that we lose friends. Maybe people will block us, call us stupid, not invite us to parties. Some people may lose their jobs. Some people may lose their lives. How big of a deal is this? Yeah, it's a really big deal, actually. It's kind of tough for me to hold this like this. Let's drop it down a little bit. See what this looks like now. I'm gonna flip the camera around also. Got some content that I'm going to be putting up in a little bit out at the point in Cherry Grove. This is the pier in Cherry Grove, South Carolina right now. I was at the point and took my P900 for quite an exploration of the upside down world that people believe we live in. Well, it's impossible. So I don't get too angry at people much at all that call me stupid or crazy or any of that. It might even be a chatbot. It might even be artificial intelligence making fun of me or you or other people that don't go along with this. It's a really big deal because they're brainwashing humanity into a false reality that's not real. By definition, by irony and paradox, the deceived don't know that they're deceived. They don't know that they don't know. They talk about ships going over the horizon and fail to realize that a bigger problem that they have with their belief is that there's people upside down in relationship to each other. And that, quite frankly, is not only silly, it's impossible. So I've got different videos that talk about the celebration of ignorance. I'm not trying to be demeaning to people. It's just that the ignorance means they don't know. Maybe you've heard it said, ignorance is no excuse. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. Like if you're in a zone in your speed zone and you're arrested for speeding, the officer says, ignorant. It's posted. It's posted, you were exceeding the speed limit, you're not noticing it is no excuse. You're not going to get off with that. So this is the Prince Resort in Cherry Grove, South Carolina. And I'm a little further away from the pier than I was for the broadcast. It didn't come through as crisp and clear as I wanted it to. And earlier today I recorded on my iPhone 10 the Gospel of John and some of Acts, which I'll be posting later on today. I directly recorded it and then I'm going to upload it. I want to see if I get a better clarity with that. Not only does water expose the global lie, so do wind chimes, plumb bobs, cranes, boats, hair, long hair. One of the people that was on my set today, I kind of look at the world like my set, and to show people the world that we live in. She had really long hair, and what I was showing is it flowing in the breeze. It's going to look pretty interesting when it's in that upside down orientation. Now, when we look in space like this, it would be hard to recognize upside down. It could be in either what they call the hemisphere, but there's no movement, can't feel the movement, can't find the curve. So when I say water, reality in the Bible exposes the truth or exposes the global lie, I'm serious. The whole hydrologic cycle operates with a warming and cooling, an evaporation, a condensation, and precipitation that powers this world through hydroelectric power, heated water, whether it's radioactive, coal, oil, natural gas. What it does is it creates steam, and steam or water directly moves the turbines. Let's see, I'm all upside down here. It's kind of tough for me to flip this around. There we go. So I wanted to go live and let you know that I do have some upside down photos. I put the U.S. Coast Guard ship out there upside down. It was my way of turning the whole flag upside down and saying, America, we're in trouble. I saw Tommy Lee Jones do it in a movie. He turned the flag upside down. It meant we were in trouble. Well, not just as a country, we're in trouble as a world, where people are basing their reality or their beliefs on a false reality, a world that does not actually exist. That's the big deal with that. It's not real. It's not real. People living upside down in relationship to other people. We talk about Australia a bit. On my appearance on Vice News and then PewDiePie, Triggered Troll, there's millions of views. How many now? I don't know. It keeps growing and growing. This little episode here is going to draw a lot of fire. I want to encourage other people to do the same in case all my stuff gets taken down and I vanish from the from social media or the web or this world. Keep in mind, I'm not patterning what I'm doing after somebody else. I just do what Jesus wants, and everybody can, quite frankly, process that however they want. A pretty popular activity is to call the messenger that calls the official narrative into question, to call them crazy or stupid or mentally deficient, you need help, all those kind of things. Well, I got all the help I need from Jesus. I've been born again. So like I say, I'm not afraid to live, die, or tell the truth. I'm not going to be bullied. Somebody that decides they want to put the hurt on me has got a surprise, maybe, because nothing is going to happen to me that God doesn't cause or allow. So I'm not afraid. That's pretty cool. That's special. Isn't that special? So I've even taunted some of my detractors on some of the groups that are saying some really vulgar things about me. If you want to go personally, you can go to my shares on posts, and when I share to 100 groups, you can scroll through there. You're not going to get all the notifications that I get coming to me on all my activity. However, you can go to shared posts and you can see what people are saying and jump on in there if you don't mind taking some heat. Helping out Robert. Eternal perspective, if you want. Or you can do that for another friend, if you care to. We're all being targeted big time. The system of control knows how to track, trace, database, threat assess, all of that. It has no problem storing all the data and assessing it. So this looks a little different. It'll all look different. The reflections when you see the mirror. Zoomed in at sea level, this stuff looks outrageous. I had a shot of the surf class stretching, looking like they were falling off, but not really. Obviously, nobody's upside down in relationship to other people. So just an ordinary little puddle, we can drop it way tight down and look at what happens. Yeah, you can do that. That's what that is. Is that special or what? It's flat and level. It's a sea level liquid mirror. It's a plane mirror. Water exposes the global lie. So does reality in the Bible. Okay, so what happened with me is I was a phony, hypocritical Christ follower, and I wasn't born again yet. Kind of like Peter, who failed miserably, and then he was born again. He's a different man, so am I. The man that I was died, will never be around again, can't be. It actually doesn't look as striking when it's the mirror. It looks a bit more obvious when it's on dry sand. That's part of what I'm wanting to show. Good morning. So there's a lot of people that aren't going to like this. Good. It's the right people that aren't going to like it, as far as I can tell. Satan's children. If so, I had to unfriend somebody that said, you know, Robert, you don't understand that being born again, the evidence of that isn't just that you don't drink alcohol anymore. I said, it's way more than that. I'm not the guy that I was. I'm not saved by my obedience. It's kind of like a dashboard light on a car. If I'm a drug addict and in willful disobedience regularly, it's not an indication of a life lived in the power of the Spirit. It's the flesh that is so obviously different than the Spirit. People running upside down. It's kind of interesting. So I think we'll see people surfing upside down. It's my friend Brandon Olin Todd. He's got Kokopelli surf camp. I featured him on. If you see surf videos, you can see that. I'll tag him in this photo and put the link of his business here. He's got a wonderful outreach helping people learn how to surf. So do you really believe it's possible for the water of the world to conform to the shape of a ball with people and stuff upside down in relationship to one another? Really? Well, if you do, then I know you're deceived. How deceived can you be and still be born again? I don't know. I know I'm not deceived on the shape of the earth, and I certainly know I'm not deceived about the reality that I wasn't born again over 30 years ago. I actually was on 2014 of Reformation Day, or Halloween, as the unknowing participants and Satan's children celebrate. Had one lady say that demon of me admits to being born again on Samhain. Like, so there's a day of the year when nobody is born again? What a legalistic, judgmental individual I believe she is. Or is she just a chatbot? I don't know. I really have no way of knowing. The artificial intelligence is so sophisticated that it's unrecognizable for the normal person, for us to know. It's so sophisticated. The way that we're presented the world that we live in, they're giving us fake trips to space, fake moon landings, trips to Mars. Last year I was at the Experimental Aircraft Association fly-in in Wisconsin, the EAA in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, and I walked through the NASA tent with minimal commentary. I didn't want to look like the guy that I am to the individuals. I didn't want them to chase me out of there. So I had enough common sense to just say I'm showing some friends the NASA booth or the NASA presentation, which I did. It's impossible for propulsion to work in a vacuum. You can check it out. It's impossible for wind chimes to be hanging upside down in relationship to one another. I was talking to an angry Australian vegan atheist. Boy, that's a mouthful, huh? Yeah, I called him because he was hating on me on a thread, and I thought, well, I'll just go talk to him. I did. An hour later, he was glad that I called. We had a nice conversation. I don't know if his perspective has changed. That's not knowable to me. I believe he was real. I talked to him. I said, is that a wind chime I hear outside your window? And he said, yeah. I said, do you hear mine? He said, yeah. I said, how does that work on a globe? Apparently, they're upside down in relationship to one another. My friend Johnny B was in a video. Met him at the conference, Flat Earth Johnny. And we talked, met his wife and son, had a wonderful time with them. And what he talked about on the video that he was in, I believe it was by ODD, he said there's up and down. Don't overcomplicate this thing. And I believe him. What he said is true. So as far as copyright infringements or anything like that, the reality of sharing the truth, I believe, is that any of us can share the truth. There's no copyright in my world of the truth. And I'm not for sale, and I'm not asking for money. How about that? I don't need a jet. I've got the internet. I'll share God's word, the most important message known to mankind, without asking people for money. And I'll do it worldwide on instantaneous communication system that's powered by water. Whether it's hydroelectric or steam turbines that are powered by oil, gas, to heat the water, solar. There's a lot of ways you can heat water. Nuclear is probably the most dangerous, right? So I've got a video where I took a video of the sun apparently vanishing into the clouds down there. In the context of that, during sunset here in South Carolina, the moon was high in the sky. I would say in relationship to the pier, about right there. You can see it on my videos. I've got, I'm a investigative researcher, and I have been all my life, and it's taken on epic proportions. I keep seeing things that are absolutely not possible and actually funny looking. Bicycles upside down, joggers, people stretching upside down. Life as a whole upside down doesn't make any sense. It just does not work. So, for example, I'm next to the water. What happens if I go in a ways and drop the camera right tight down? What's a little bit tougher here is that I don't have I don't know exactly what you're looking at. I can't, to try and level it out, I can't really see what I'm showing you. So it's a little bit of a challenge. The P900 has an LCD screen that comes out. That makes it a little bit easier, folds out, so I'm able to drop it down and zoom in 83 times, which I did. People walking in the near distance, and then ships in the far distance. It's not possible upside down. We've got up and down and the differences in density and mass. That would be buoyancy. Heavier falls, lighter floats. Heavier than falls or sinks, lighter than floats. It's just the way it is. It's not that, don't overcomplicate this thing. So I'm just going to kind of